Hi everyone, and welcome to English for You. I'm Pat.
And I'm Mike.
And we hope you all had a really great Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Yeah, I hope it was a fun time. But the fun doesn't have to end now. Ooh. It's Boxing Day.
Yes.
Yeah, maybe you guys don't know what this exactly is or haven't heard of it, but we both come from countries that celebrate it.
True. Yes, Boxing Day is the day after Christmas. So here's a question for you, Pat. What do you usually do on Boxing Day, either here or back home?
It's sports, and more sport, basically. If you follow enough sports, you can start very early in the morning and keep going pretty much all day watching and getting involved with different kinds of sports. So I would always go to a live football game because there are two teams in my city. We never play at home on the same weekend. So if you didn't go and see one team, you could go and see the other. And then you'd just go for that in the afternoon, come home, have a nice big meal of Christmas leftovers.
Probably, yeah.
And then there, it was always a good day.
Absolutely. And as a kid, I used to just love playing with my toys. Because Christmas Day is actually quite busy for many families.
Right.
You might open your gifts in the morning, possibly go to church. And you got to come home and start cooking dinner. And then all your relatives come over. And then you have dinner. And by the time everyone leaves, you're exhausted. So Boxing Day, having the day off after Christmas, the day after, that was kind of the day when you could really get into the things you got and start reading those books or playing those games or playing with those toys. So that was another fun thing. It's kind of the more relaxing day of the two Christmas holidays, the 2 days of Christmas you might have a holiday.
Yeah, we'd often see like the other side of the family that we didn't see on Christmas Day, that kind of thing as well.
Your mom's family or your dad's family.
Yeah, different. This year we're with them, next year we're doing it with them, but you'll get Boxing Day, that sort of thing. But what is the story of Boxing Day? What kind of stuff happens on it? Let's read through our article and find out.
Reading.
The Christmas fun continues with Boxing Day. Christmas Day in the UK and parts of the Commonwealth is a very special occasion. You'll get as stuffed as the turkey you'll be eating. Gifts will be exchanged, games will be played, and fun will be had by all. However, these countries also celebrate another day on December 26th, Boxing Day. Boxing Day originated in the UK in the 1830s. It was the only day off for lots of people, including servants. Their employers often gave them boxes of gifts or money, which is likely where the day's name comes from. Now, in much of the Commonwealth, Boxing Day is a continuation of the Christmas fun. Many sporting events happen on this day. In the UK, soccer and rugby teams play. In Canada, it's ice hockey, while Australians and South Africans play cricket. Boxing Day is often a day for shopping too, because stores will typically offer big discounts. So, if you love Christmas, you'll surely love Boxing Day as well.
So our article starts by saying Christmas Day in the UK and parts of the Commonwealth is a very special occasion. Of course, it's the day you always look for. It's Christmas. Christmas is coming. I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited. Yep, it's not just in the UK and the Commonwealth, it's all over the world. We mentioned the UK and the Commonwealth for a reason, we'll get to that. But first let's look at the word occasion. Now it could be a time in which something happens, like, oh, what's the occasion tonight? It's somebody's dinner or whatever. It's just a normal occasion. You know, this has happened on 3 occasions, this has happened 3 times. But it's often used to mean a special or important time or event. For example, the restaurant will be closed tonight for a private occasion. Maybe someone's booked it for their birthday or a wedding party. It's a special time.
Some kind of special celebration, but yes, we're not saying exactly what it is, but it is definitely a slightly more special time. Now, it says you'll get as stuffed as the turkey you'll be eating. Yeah, this is what we often do on Christmas. You eat a lot. And here we're kind of making a joke that you, the person who's now eaten a lot of food, you will feel as stuffed as the turkey, because of course turkey, that big bird, when people cook it, they often fill it with things to give it more flavor. That's called stuffing the turkey. And this adjective, to be stuffed, basically is to be really, really full. If you stick as much of something into another thing, almost so that it explodes or it starts falling out of the top again, then that thing is stuffed. You might fill your luggage with you might stuff your luggage, I should say, with souvenirs and gifts when you're on your way back home. So it really is hard to close your bag. It is absolutely stuffed. And it's also a very common word we can use when we're talking about just having eaten so much food that we're starting to feel a little bit sick, and maybe you have to loosen your pants a little bit because your stomach is so big. For example, I couldn't eat another bite. I'm stuffed. Not even a mint.
So we've got our language in focus in that sentence as well. Let's check that out. So our language in focus uses as followed by an adjective or adverb and then another as, okay, and usually that's then a noun after that. Now this kind of pattern is used for making comparisons and saying two things are equal in whatever adjective we're using, or they're doing things in the same manner as the adverb we're using. Something is as big as ugly as, moves as fast as, talks as loudly as, and so on. This form of comparison is called a simile. Now in our article, of course, we're saying people get stuffed full of food, while the turkey is also stuffed full of food. So it's kind of a fun way of making a comparison between you and the turkey. Here is a good comparison and a simile. The look she gave me was as cold as a dead penguin in the snow. So you eat a lot on Christmas Day, but what else happens?
Oh, so much. As we told you guys, there is so much more to do, especially before the eating. It says gifts will be exchanged, games will be played, and fun will be had by all. Yeah, it's a very busy day, and the idea is to have maximum fun on that day because, you know, it's Christmas. That's what you're supposed to do.
The article continues and says, however, these countries, so that means the UK and some of these Commonwealth countries, that means usually former British territories.
But not America.
Not
We're
America.
not talking about America.
No. However, these countries also celebrate another day on December 26th, Boxing Day. That's its name.
That's right. Boxing Day, as we learn, originated in the UK in the 1830s. These Commonwealth countries kind of looked to the UK, to Britain as sort of the mother country, and Canada, Australia, New Zealand, places like
South
that.
Africa.
South Africa, part of the Commonwealth. They will also be celebrating Boxing Day even now, but it originated in the UK back in the 1830s. To originate, this verb means to come from in the beginning. That is where it was created, where it was born, where it was first found. It's spread around the world, but if we go back in history, this is where it was first celebrated or first held, this Boxing Day in the UK back in the 1830s. We can use originate to talk about both the time and the place. It originated in 1830. It originated in the UK. That's where it began.
Okay, what do we learn about it? It was the only day off for lots of people, including servants. Okay. So that's an important idea here. Servants in rich families would work on Christmas Day,
they would, yeah.
Making the dinner, cleaning up.
Right.
But they got the day after off so they could be with their own families. So for them, it was kind of like that's their Christmas. So we use this preposition including. When we use including, we mean that this thing is part of the group of what we've just mentioned. So many people, including servants. We could say many people and this included servants if we use include as a verb. It is part of this group of things we've just mentioned. Here's an example. Arthur has trained in many styles of dance, including ballet and tap. So these aren't the only ones he's trained in. There are others as well, but they are two of the styles of dance he has trained in.
There you go. So what would these servants get on their day off on Boxing Day? Well, it says their employers often gave them boxes of gifts or money, which is likely where the day's name comes from. So not only would the servants get the day off, which of course is nice, but they should also get a gift. I mean, after all, it is Christmas and they worked hard yesterday putting on a wonderful Christmas day for their boss and the family. So on this day, they get the day off, and they also got boxes of gifts or money. And this, as it says, is likely where the day's name comes from. That's why it's called Boxing Day. It has nothing to do with the sport of boxing. People aren't fighting the day after Christmas. They're giving gifts in boxes. Yeah, and so this was something they would be given by their employer. An employer is someone who gives you a job, or maybe someone who you work for. It could be a person, it could also be a company. You could talk about your employer being a company, your boss, the person who gave you the job, or the person you work for on a day-to-day basis. You are the employee, that's E-M-P-L-O-Y-E-E, and the boss is the employer. That's with the ER, like we're talking about here. For example, Alexa took her employer to court because he tried to fire her without a good reason. That's not a very nice employer.
So it sounds pretty good, right? The servants get the day off. It's definitely always a holiday in the UK and most of these other Commonwealth countries. You don't go back into work the day after Christmas.
Right.
You have a great deal of fun. As the article says, now in much of the Commonwealth, so not all of it, but almost all of it, Boxing Day is a continuation of the Christmas fun. So I'm sure you know the word continue, to keep doing something. Continuation is the noun form of the verb continue. It's used to say that a thing is still going on. It's whatever was going on in the past, whatever it was connected to, it has not stopped yet. Something is still going on with this particular activity or idea or something like that.
Absolutely. It says many sporting events happen on this day. So since everyone has the day off and they all have time to relax at home, one thing people would love to do is to watch some games on TV. Sporting events. We're talking about sports like soccer, rugby, cricket, things like that. And this is kind of like in America on Thanksgiving and also on New Year's Day. They have a lot of American football games, whereas in the UK and other Commonwealth countries, they will have lots of sports. You guys will probably watch football. I'm sure in Australia there's cricket. I think in Canada we have lots of hockey games. So it's a wonderful thing to do when you're relaxing at home. Put on the game. And sporting, of course, is an adjective that talks about sports. So we could say they watch lots of sports, or we could say they watch sporting events. Something else we might use is, as we're expressing in our example sentence, at the sporting goods store, Fiona was trying out a new tennis racket. Goods or products, things that you buy. Sporting goods would be things that you buy and use to play sports. So anything from running shoes to tennis rackets, that kind of thing. So sporting events, lots of different games and sports and whatnot on television.
So what kind of sports do we cover here? Well, it depends where you are. It says in the UK, soccer and rugby teams play. Of course, we call it football rather than soccer in the UK. Rugby is a game, it's a little bit like the American form of football. People run, they smash into each other. They have an egg-shaped ball, but they can only throw it backwards and sideways. So very physical game, a lot of fun. Now in the UK on Boxing Day, it's the biggest pretty much day in terms of the number of teams that are playing. It's probably the biggest day in terms of the number of people who come to the stadiums because everyone's off. So great, let's go and watch the Boxing Day football game.
Right.
So yeah, it's a very busy day for people traveling to watch all these football and rugby teams play. It's a lot of fun. It's a great day to go to a game because there's always a lot of excitement and happiness. Everyone's fresh off Christmas. So yeah, that's definitely what I would do, go and watch a football football game.
That's great. It's often one that families will also go to, right? Kids getting soccer tickets for Christmas would be a big exciting thing, and the fact you're going to a game the next day would make it even more special. And then as we move to different countries, all we do is switch the sports. It says in Canada, it's ice hockey, or hockey as we would call it, while Australians and South Africans play cricket. So it really doesn't matter where you are. People are enjoying these different sporting events depending on the season and the sports that they play. But the idea is to go out there on your day off, the day after Christmas, and sort of, finish off your Christmas with a really great day down at the game.
Yeah, Australians, they play cricket. It's always in the stadium in Melbourne, the Boxing Day match. It's usually a very big match, usually very well attended. I went in 2013 or 14, I forget. But there were over 90,000 people
that must be
in the
sold
stadium.
Out. Wow.
It was an amazing experience, even though England were losing as usual. But yeah, and in South Africa, it's usually Johannesburg is the Boxing Day test. But cricket's a game a little bit like baseball. They have a bat, you have a ball, you're trying to hit it somewhere and run to get points for your team. It's quite famous as a game can last for 5 days.
They do take a break.
Yes, they take breaks overnight.
They don't play all night.
Right. Yeah. There are other forms of the game that are over in a few hours or that kind of just last most of the day, like a bit more like baseball. But the ones that are played on Boxing Day are always the first day of a 5-day game. So very exciting times for cricket fans, because you could get up early in the UK and start watching the one in Australia, and then later in the day, the South African game would begin. You could just watch sport all day.
There you go. But what if you don't like sports, for example?
Get out of here, that I don't want to talk to you.
What about mom or your sister or your
my mom
brother
loves the sports.
Rather read a book than watch a bunch of people run around on a field in the cold, especially? Well, Boxing Day, it says, is often a day for shopping too, because stores will typically offer big discounts. Yes, this is, I think for a lot of people, this might be more important than all the sports, because everyone loves a big discount. Now, when we talk about a discount, we're using it as a noun, although it could be a verb. We're basically talking about a lower price, like you might find in a sale. When you see those signs that say 70% or 30% off or half price or something, they're announcing a big discount that, of course, they're hoping will attract a lot of shoppers to buy stuff. It says, since this jacket is slightly damaged, do you think we could get a discount? Do you think we could get a lowered price? Now, stores do this because they often have a lot of stuff they didn't sell for Christmas, and they want to get rid of it because they're going to get a whole bunch of new stuff, especially for spring and summer. So they'll often have these big discounts. And sometimes, I mean, they're crazy. You could get a PlayStation for 80% off. If a new version of the machine is coming out this year, the store doesn't want it, so go down there. People wait in line from early in the morning because you really can get some crazy discounts if you go out to those Boxing Day sales. In Canada, though, you have to brave the cold weather to go out and get the discount.
Yeah, I did it in Australia. We finished the day at the cricket and then we went shopping and bought a whole bunch of clothes. So we filled our Boxing Day with all the right activities, which is why the article says, so if you love Christmas, you'll surely love Boxing Day as well. It's just more of the same. You can still play games, you've got the day off, loads of sport to watch, shopping to do, and as Mike said, if you're not into any of that, you've still got a day off to eat Christmas food, play with Christmas toys when you're not quite so busy. It's great. Now, in that sentence, we use the phrase as well. You'll love Boxing Day as well. As well just means also, too. You're saying this the same as the thing before. Okay, that's all we've got time for in the article, but don't go away just yet. We're going to go to our For You Chat question.
For You Chat.
So our question is, how else is Christmas celebrated? And what do you know about the holiday's history.
Oh, well, Christmas, of course, has a very long and interesting history. I think one of the most interesting things is a lot of the traditions we think of really aren't that old. The idea of like having a Christmas tree in your home, that's only a little bit more than 100 years old. So a lot of these traditions, Santa Claus, Christmas trees, Christmas carols, these are fairly modern things. And I think another interesting thing is that in different countries, they actually open their gifts at different times.
Yep.
I remember I used to know a girl, she was from Germany, and they used to open their gifts on Christmas Eve.
Okay.
And I always thought that was so weird. So we used to, I would give her a gift, she would open it on Christmas Eve, she would give me my gift, I would save it until Christmas Day, but there was all these very interesting, slightly different traditions.
Yeah, you might remember Mike and I talking about Iceland some few months back, and they always gave books at Christmas. Do you remember that? Yeah. I've got a friend who's from a Polish family. They have a very important midnight mass tradition. They go to church.
Oh, I like that.
Midnight at Christmas Eve, very special ceremony for them all.
Right.
Very big Polish kind of community occasion.
My family does that too in Canada.
Oh, cool. Yeah. So, yeah, there's lots of different ways. Some people take the religious side. Some people pay attention to the gift side. For some people, it's all about the food. Going back to Australia again, it's in the middle of summer. People will go to the beach, they'll go surfing, they'll have pool parties, they'll do all the fun stuff that we think of as being summer activities.
True, and there's a whole other kind of Christian who celebrate Christmas in January.
Yeah.
Totally different day a little bit later on, or in the early new year for most of us.
Okay, so lots of different ways. Every family is going to have its own personal little things, and every country's got its own traditions. So, yeah, lots to learn about Christmas, but we haven't got time to cover it because we're out of time for today. Thanks for watching us, everybody. Hope you've had some great holidays and you're looking forward to a great new year. We'll see you then. Bye for now.
Vocabulary Review. Occasion. It's Sam's birthday on Saturday, and we'll celebrate the occasion by having a party. Stuffed. Danny and his friends were stuffed after they spent 2 hours at the hot pot restaurant. Including. 7 students failed the test, including Max, who only scored 51. Employer. The workers refused to come back to the office after their employers did not pay them on time. Sporting. Baseball games are Tom's favorite sporting events. Discount. The restaurant near the university offers a 15% discount for students to help them save money.
智慧小补帖。
Originate.
以上节目是由活用空中美语制作，活用空中美语杂志，请洽询全国各大书店。如欲索取试听教材，请来电02-2364-4000 02-2364-4000，或上网查询，网址是 www.english4u.net www.english4u.net